Guys, this one really pissed me off. And the reason it pissed me off is because this person is a seller. They know the workarounds on how to do all this. And just like every rant video or any video I make of this kind, I want your honest opinions. Let me know in the comments below. Was I wrong? Was the seller wrong? Were we both wrong? And what would you have do? What would you have done? Let's get it started. The shoes involved in this return are these right here. A pair of Vapor Max women's size 9.5. I'm gonna let you know what the reason was. But a little backstory. I got this order on August 11th, 2022. When I got this order, I was excited. $130 shoe sale to a buyer who has over 1,000 feedback. Should be a good buyer, right? I was wrong. I packed these shoes as soon as I got the order because, like I said, $130, I was going to make sure those shoes left this place that same day. So I printed out the shipping label August 11th, the same day the order came in, and I dropped it off. Well, technically I dropped it off at USPS that same day, but USPS has a scan for the next day. Usually that's what happens with me. So happy, go out. What happens a few days later? Can you guess what happens a few days later? I get that dreaded return notification. And as you all know already, we have no say in it, even though, well, again, I want you guys' opinion. I believe it's a false item that is described, but again, let me know your opinions as soon as I show you everything. So the buyer opened the return saying this: doesn't match description or photos. It was not clearly stated that there's a hole on top of the toe end of the left shoe larger than the pencil eraser. There is a very worn place on the top of the toe of the right shoe that will be a full tear and hole with minimal wear. I can see frayed fabric but not a clear hole in the left shoe in photos of the listing. Now that was the return reason as to why she opened the return. Now, like I said, I have the shoes here and I'm going to be showing you the pictures as well. The shoes here is that these have little holes right here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but they have one right here and one right there that you can see. Now, one mistake that I did do in the very first listing is the fact that on the right shoe, this one right here, when I had the pictures, I was not pointing to it. I'm gonna have the pictures up here so you guys can see it. But on the left shoe, I actually have scissors. These scissors are actually the same scissors right here, pointing to the actual hole of the shoes. So if the buyer messaged me, I would have been more than happy to return $5, $10, even $15 refund because of that mistake. Because that was my mistake. I did not point to that specific hole, but you can see it in the picture. As the buyer said, it's frayed, but if you actually zoom up to it, you can see that it is a hole, at least in my opinion. You guys let me know. So at this point, I got heated and I got pissed off. All I was seeing was red, because as soon as I saw this person's profile, because that's exactly what I do every time I get a return reason, I see who they are and if they are a seller themselves. And when I saw that this person was a seller, that's what pissed me off. And it made me do this. I actually went and sent a message to the buyer saying this. If you look at the pictures, I did point out the holes, and you can clearly see them in the picture. The reason for return that you chose is incorrect and will be reported. And that's exactly what I did. I did end up reporting the buyer for using the return system or a false INAD. But at the same time, it could have been because I was mad or I'm not seeing things clearly. But it just pissed me off because this person, who is a seller, did not even bother to message me first and even ask to rectify this before just opening a return. I know they could do that. I offer 30-day buyer pay returns, so I have to accept it no matter what. But you know, seller to seller, just message me. We could have worked it out. So a few minutes after that message, the buyer responds: I will not argue back and forth with you. I can tell the fabric is worn but not fully torn. You should have stated that. You should have stated that I am returning the shoes. Now, if you knew the fabric was worn, you should have assumed that it was torn too, because you can see that it's torn. After that, I responded again saying, again, you can clearly see in the pictures, I would have gladly accepted the return if you chose the correct reason with you paying the return shipping. But you as a reseller knows the workaround with eBay. You will be reported. And I did do that. Again, I was mad. It's actually only one of the first times that I've ever gotten mad at someone on eBay. It's crazy. But the buyer ended up responding with this: I don't appreciate your threats. Now, that wasn't a threat. I actually reported her. If it was a threat, that's me saying that I was going to, but I did. I actually did do it. And that was the last message that I ever heard from this person. Now, after that, what ended up happening is I waited for the shoes to come, got them from the post office. Everything was fine. Shoes were the same ones. And being vindictive as I was, I waited till the very last day to actually refund the money. Now, the thing about that, what's happening with refunds now is that the case isn't closed until the buyer acknowledges that the refund was sent. So I refunded the 120, I believe it was $120 that they paid for the shoes, but I did not return the $12 shipping, as I never do. After that, I went to this person's profile again and I saw that they were using stock photos. And as you guys know, on eBay, you're not allowed to use stock photos. So again, as vindictive as I was, I ended up going to her most expensive items and I reported them. Now, is anything gonna come to that? I highly doubt it. But that's what pissed me off, is the fact that this person is a reseller too. They could have just not negotiated. They could have contacted me first and we could have worked around. Shoes themselves are good, but other than those holes, that's all that was. So at the end of the day, this is the reason why I got pissed off with this particular transaction, because it was just another seller who knows the workarounds. They chose an INAD because they know they could get the free return shipping before even trying to contact me. I would have been more than happy to reason with this person and give them back $15. I mean, it's $15. They could have kept the shoes, but they didn't want to, and that's the reason why it pissed me off. Even now, I'm having trouble to actually come up with words to say for this video, because all I'm seeing is just red. It made me mad, and I'm pretty sure if this were to happen to you guys, it would have made you mad as well, or maybe not, I don't know. But to me, it did. I know some of the shoes that I get, they're flawed, and I always do point out the flaws, and if I miss something, point it out to me. Tell me, send me a message so we can rectify it. If it was my bad, it was my bad. I would take account for it. But there are a couple of things that I do want to know from you guys. Was I being threatening by reporting her to eBay for using an INAD reason? Was I being threatening with those messages that I sent? Was I being reasonable? Other than that one mistake that I did I do a mistake with not showing it even more, which could be possible, but when we're only allowed 12 photos, we can only show so much. And of course, who was in the right and who was in the wrong? Was I in the right? Were they in the wrong? The reason I'm not revealing this person's username is because I don't think they did this maliciously. They had reason to return. I understand that. But what bugs me, and I keep saying it over and over, is the fact that they could have messaged me and we could have come to an agreement of me returning some of their money. No problem at all. So if they did this maliciously, then yeah, I would have revealed their username like that. But since they didn't do it maliciously, I'm not going to be revealing their name. If they ever try anything maliciously, then I probably will, but I highly doubt, because I added this person to my block list. I don't want their business anymore, and I just don't want to deal with it. Got the shoes back, and business goes on. But the reason I made this video is because it just made me mad, the fact that it's a seller, and sellers, there are good sellers and there are bad sellers, and whether this person is a bad seller or not, I have no idea. But it just pissed me off, because bad sellers, they know the process on how to basically screw over the little guy, and that's what I am. I'm just a little seller. I'm not anything big. I'm not. But yeah, guys, again, I want to know your opinion. What do you think of this? Was I in the wrong? Was I in the right? Were we both just at the same? Let me know in the comments below. I really want your honest opinion, whether good or harsh. Please let me know. If you guys want to see any more reseller rant videos with a couple people that probably should be blocked, click on this list right here. You should really look out for them.